If you are skilled, experienced, and doing all the right things, but your income still feels capped or inconsistent, this video is for you. Because the difference between women who scale their income and women who stay stuck is not talent, it's not confidence or how hard they work. It's an identity shift most people never talk about. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact identity difference I see over and over again between women who grow their income and women who stay stuck no matter how hard they try, no matter how much effort they bring into it. Now, this isn't just about mindset in a fluffy sense, and it's not about believing harder or becoming a different person. This is how successful women think. This is how successful women decide. This is how they live differently as their income grows, and why staying in the wrong identity keeps income capped even when you're capable, even when you're experienced, even when you have all the expertise, you have all the skills, your income stay capped. Now let's talk about women who stay stuck versus women who scale. The big difference I see is this: women who stay stuck are operating from the identity of the operator. Women who scale their income, on the other hand, step into the identity of the decision maker. I'm going to let that land for a minute. That the women who stay stuck are operating from the identity of the operator, while the women who scale their income step into the identity of the decision maker. Identity number one, the operator. This is women who stay stuck. Women who stay stuck learn to, one, they try to do more instead of decide to think differently or decide to do differently. Have you ever seen a situation where a woman is wanting to achieve a goal? So in this instance, wanting to grow their income, but they're trying to do more. Maybe you've watched a number of workshops or masterminds or master classes where the coach is telling you to do more in order to achieve more. But the missing piece for the women who stay stuck is that they never decide differently. Remember that the results we create come from what we decide, sometimes subconsciously. But at this level, you need to be able to decide differently that your income is going to be different. The number two thing I see is that women who tend to stay stuck, they look for the right tactic instead of the right structure. So following tactics or tips or hacks instead of deciding to build the right structure for their business. Women who stay stuck, they overvalue self-sufficiency. So maybe you've been grinding in your business and you've just made a decision that you are going to make this work for yourself. That's the traits and characteristics of women who stay stuck, always wanting to do things themselves instead of seeking help. Number four is women who stay stuck. They delay decisions until they feel more confident, ready, or certain. So I used to be like this. I used to be like, before I take a step, I want to feel certain. I want to feel confident. I want to feel ready. And this has to be number one that I have seen of the trait of people who stay stuck, waiting until you feel confident, waiting until you feel ready, waiting until you have all your ducks in a row, until the stars have aligned in your favor. But the women who grow their income, they are bold and they realize that confidence comes from action. They realize that they're going to do things messy. They're not going to wait until things are perfect. They're going to learn along the way. They're willing to be uncomfortable with rejection, with failure, and they favor progress over perfection. They are not waiting to feel confident. They are not waiting to feel ready. They are not waiting until they don't feel like an imposter. No, they go, they take the action when they are scared, when they are afraid, when they have no clue how to do things. And then lastly, women who stay stuck, they tend to believe they should be able to figure things out on their own. You know, maybe you're super smart. You've attended college, you have a master's degree, you have a doctorate, you have all the certifications. And then somewhere in your mind, you've told yourself, I should be able to figure out my business. I should be able to figure out how to grow my business. I should be able to figure out how to grow my income. And because you are determined to figure things out on your own, here's the sad news: time keeps going by, and you're trying to figure things out on your own, and you're not getting the results. And gradually, you're beginning to lose faith in the possibility that entrepreneurship is for you. So, those are the five key traits I see in women who stay stuck. This identity sounds responsible. It sounds like you're working hard, right? You want to be seem like you're putting in the reps. You want to feel like you're responsible for your results. It may even sound something like admirable, right? All of these five traits. You want to figure things out on your own. You want to look for the right tactic instead of the right structure. You want to be self-sufficient. All of these sound like they are responsible traits, but it quietly keeps your income capped. Even though all of these things, all of these characteristics sound like there are good qualities in an entrepreneur, but these are the qualities that are keeping your income capped. Why? Well, here's a simple reason: because operators ask, what else should I try? What else am I missing? What am I missing? What can I fix first? Instead of what decision would change everything. That's the question that high earners, women who earn and keep up leveling their income, that's the one question they keep asking themselves. What decision would change everything for me? And that's the question decision makers ask to take their income to the next level. And just to say this very quickly, this identity shift is exactly the kind of work I help my clients inside of my private support. If you are listening to this and thinking, this feels uncomfortably accurate, this feels like where my income is stuck. If it's uncomfortable, but you realize that this is accurate, the details to work with me are below. Use the first link to book a call and let's have a coffee chat. But for now, let's keep going because the next part is the real shift. The identity number two. This is the identity you need to incorporate. This is the identity you have to assume. The decision maker. This is why women scale. The women who scale their income do things, in fact, do a lot of things very differently. They make decisions before certainty. Oh my gosh. This is so true. They decide before they are certain. I'm going to give you an example. When I started my business, I went all in. I bought my URL, I bought everything for me that I needed to start my business. I wasn't doubting that it would fail. I decided that I was going to make my business work no matter how long it took me. I decided. And so I was investing in my business like I was already a multimillionaire. I was hiring the best coaches. I was in the best masterminds. In fact, the masterminds I attended, paying tens of thousands of dollars to be in, it just shifted my thinking. Just being in the room with wealthy women, just seeing how wealthy women think, wealthy business owners. So I decided from the beginning, even though I had no clue what I was doing, I decided this business was going to be successful. Now, let me tell you, in the 2 years I've been in business, okay, so if you've been listening to this, read my channel for a number of maybe 6 months, you would know. I attended the life coach school, and many of the women I attended the life coach school with and we graduated, many of them have quit their businesses. They are no longer in business. Why? I have no clue for their specific reasons, but I believe that deciding ahead of time, deciding that there is no plan B. I quit my job. Like, now I'm not telling you to quit your job, right? But I was so determined. In fact, the way I was showing up, I decided this business was going to work. In the last 2 years, I have never missed 1 week of putting out my podcast episode, one YouTube video every week. In fact, some weeks I have done 2 videos. That's the determination. That's the identity I had to assume because I had to start asking, how do women who make a lot of money, how do they think? I started to think. I remember all of our reprogramming happens from the thinking level. If you want to change your results, you have to change how you think. And so I started to think differently. I decided ahead of time that I was going to be successful. I said, I'm going to figure this out. That was how I was so determined. And now, by God's grace, I am reaping the fruit of all of that belief, all of that going all in. Okay, so that's trait number one, make decisions before certainty. Okay, trait number two is to treat support as leverage, not weakness. Ah. Instead of thinking asking for support is a sign of weakness, the women who scale their income, they see support as leverage. In fact, in the last workshop I did, the last live workshop I did, one amazing lady, her name is Danisha. She said she found me through a video I did, it must have been about 8 months ago. And in that video, I was talking about a lady called Melanie Layer, who another lady had posted in a Facebook group I was in that she invested $500,000. So $555,000 in coaching with Melanie Layer. So this lady on the call, Danisha, was referring to the video I did. And since she said that a few days ago, I've been thinking and rejigging my memory about that. In fact, I still have the screenshot of that Facebook post on my computer. The reason the lady posted that was because when she invested $500,000 in coaching, I know it's wild, right? $555,000 in coaching. She said in just 3 months, she had made $1 million. So she made her investment back. And so that's an example of a woman who sees support as leverage, right? When I go to my own story as well, I see support as leverage. Whenever I hire my coaches, in fact, there are times I work with multiple coaches at the same time because I'm working on two different things. But there's never been a time since I launched my business that I went without a coach. I always invested in coaches because I knew that that support is leverage. So if you have been thinking that hiring coaches or asking for support is a sign of weakness, that's what's keeping your income stuck. Okay, so you need to think differently. And I treat support as leverage. When I invest in support, my results skyrockets because I am leveraging the ideas, the results, the experience of the coach I'm hiring. So that's trait number two. Trait number three of highly successful women, women who scale their income, they stop trying to prove that they can do things alone. They stop trying to prove to themselves that they are self-sufficient. In fact, an example I can give you is the last 3 months, I started working with my virtual assistant and in my coaching business and hiring that help. I tell you, I just feel a lot more productive. And so if you've been thinking, oh, I'm going to figure out my business alone, I'm going to figure out the tech, the operations, the customer service, the selling, the marketing, I want to tell you that hiring help is actually the best thing that could happen in your business. So I hire help with my coaches as well as hiring help with my my team. So I have a VA that is working with me now. And so she actually keeps me more organized and more responsible, because now I have to make sure she has work. And because I have to make sure she has work, there is no more days where I'll be like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. Now I have to get out of bed every single day. So hiring help has made me a lot wealthier, richer, a better person, a better leader. I am now leading, and in some ways, I'm coaching her as well. The other day, I was telling her, you need to think about how you can scale your business as a virtual assistant. And like that coaching I gave her blew her mind, because she said she's always thought she'll be stuck as a VA forever. I said, no, you have to think differently. You have to think about creating an agency if that's what you desire, right? So now I am leading. And that's what hiring support can help you do. You become more responsible, you become more accountable. So, trait number four, invest based on where they are going, not based on where they are. I have always invested on where I'm going. So think about the results you want to create. Invest at the results you want to create. Invest in your business at the results you want to create. So maybe your business is currently stuck at $5,000 per month, and you want to get to $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000. You need to see your business as the business that generates your desired income and start investing at that level. It shifts everything. And that's how it shifted for me. I I invest in masterminds and rooms that puts me in a room with women making $1 million per month. I know that's wild. Yeah, but I invest at that level because I want to think differently. So you need to start investing at the level of the woman you want to be. Lastly, women who scale their income optimize for speed, stability, and sustainability, not effort. So I want you to discount thinking about effort, right? Because sometimes you think, oh, if I put in 5 hours a day in my business is going to be successful. You need to optimize for speed, stability, and sustainability, not just effort. That's how you need to start thinking about how you generate income in your business. Women who scale their income, they don't wait until something breaks. They decide before the pain becomes unbearable. This is the part most people miss. Scaling income is not becoming more capable, it's about operating from a different identity. You need to start operating from the identity of the woman that earns the amount of money you want to make. If you want to make 20,000 per month, start operating from the identity of that woman. Figure out the woman who earns $20,000 per month, does she procrastinate? No. Does she feel imposter syndrome all the time? No. She does feel sometimes, because I believe every one of us will experience imposter syndrome sometimes. But the woman who earns $20,000 per month, she takes responsibility. She shows up confidently. She's not afraid to take risk. She's not afraid to take action. So you need to identify the traits, the characteristics of the woman you want to become, and you need to become her first in your identity. The real cost of staying stuck. Staying stuck doesn't usually feel dramatic. It feels like being almost there for a long time. It looks like inconsistent months. So you do 2K this month and you do 3K next month. You're just inconsistent. You repeat the same cycles over and over, the same patterns in your business over and over, knowing you are capable of more, but not seeing it reflected in your income. And over time, that gap between what you know you are capable of and what your business is producing becomes exhausting. And this is the point many women quit their businesses. When you are putting in the effort, and over time, there's a gap between what you desire and what you know you are capable of and the reality of what you're producing in your business. That gap and that exhaustion makes people quit their businesses. Now, the identity shift. This is the turning point. The woman who scales her income, she stops asking, how do I make this work? And she starts to ask, who do I need to become to operate at this level? Because when you do the identity shift first, the action comes easily. I know many people have this backwards. Many people say, just tell me the action to take, and I'm going to grind to take those actions. But then they don't get results. The fastest way to get results is to shift your identity. When you become that woman in your mind, taking action becomes effortless. You are no longer grinding because now your subconscious mind matches or agrees with your income goal. So the woman who scale their income, instead of saying, asking the question, tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it. Tell me how the tax I need to do in my business, or tell me the strategies I need to take. She's asking, how should I be operating as the identity of the woman that earns $20,000 per month? How do I need to be thinking as the woman that wants to scale her income? That's the difference between women who stay stuck and women who scale their income. This is the identity shift by asking, who do I need to become to operate at this higher level, at my next level? Not more content, not more effort, not more proving, trying to prove yourself, always explaining your offer. A different level of leadership and decision making. That's what it takes. When you enter that level of first leading yourself and becoming the decision maker in your business, your income shifts. So here's the real question I want to leave you with. Are you trying to work your way to your next income level, like by grinding? Or are you ready to decide your way there? You have two options from here. You can take the insights and sit with it, try to implement it on your own and see if anything changes. Or the smarter way is you can ask for support and get support, stepping fully into this next level with structure, accountability, support, strategy, guidance. If you want help with that, the next step is below. Use the first link in the description to book a private coffee chat with me. And if you want to keep exploring this work, I'm going to add a link to a video you need to watch next, where I break down how to overcome your income ceiling by installing structures, by having the steps you need to take your income to the next level. I'm also going to drop that video below. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you found any encouragement in this video, please like this video, comment below, and subscribe to this channel. I also want to encourage you to share this video with a woman in your life. All of us have those women, our friends or family members we love, who are trying to grow businesses, who are trying to step into their next level of income. Please forward this video to them. And I want to thank you for being here in my community. 2026 is definitely going to be the best year we have ever experienced. And I want you to come along with me. I'll see you back here in the next episode.